Hello and welcome to Captain Charlemagne's Models. I'm your captain, Charlemagne, and today we are going to do the unboxing of the USS Hawaii CB-3 by Trumpeter. Now, this is a very interesting idea that Trumpeter's done here, because for the longest time, to get USS Hawaii, you had to get the Hobby Boss 1 in 350 kit. So, it's quite interesting that they chose to finally release her in 1 in 700, but considering that we have Hawaii and Guam, it in a sense makes sense. So what is there really to know about this ship? Well, not that much. She didn't serve in World War II, and in fact she was never even completed. So that in itself opens up a lot of doors for building her, but that's a story for another time. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what the first thing we get out of the box today is. The brochure showing new releases from 2022 into 2023. So you have things like Soviet tank, the battle cruiser Barbarossa, another one of Trumpeter's Never Wars that they're releasing. Of course, you have right here Hawaii. Turn it over, and you got a little history on the Z-19 Light Scout attack helicopter. So move that to the side, and out of the box first is your hull. Now, Trumpeter sadly no longer gives you both hull parts, both the upper hull and the underwater hull, so it's pretty much now, it seems like they're just giving you waterline kit. So, interesting enough also is that for the hull it says 1 in 700 Alaska, but I'm pretty sure it's the same way even for her sister. Another thing that's interesting is that it has holes in the bottom of it, so I guess this is for if you wanted to mount her onto a stand as a waterline, or if you wanted to secure her to a base for your diorama. Well, you got your method now. So to the side with that, next we got her decks. So it's one long single piece, and you got a fair bit of details, spots for her 20 millimeters and 2 spots for her bovers. One here, right here at the front of the deck, and 2 at the end. Of course, you got 1 spot for both fore and aft for her 12-inch guns, and the spots for the superstructure and of her airplane catapults, which were located in the middle. Next out of the box is tiny stuff. So of course, yes, everything's still in the packets. In fact, I had just recently opened the box, so everything you guys are seeing, I'm also seeing for the first time. So, got stuff for her. We got, so, yeah, move that aside. Aside from the lifeboats, I really don't know what all's on there. Next out, of course, is your photo etch. So the photo etch, of course, you have the spots for your 2 cranes and both the 2 and the 3 on here. Now that's the interesting part, is that Trumpeter didn't just give you everything for her funnel. In fact, these 2 parts here are, if you give me 1 moment, move all this stuff out of the way. So those 2 parts of photo etch are used to build, if I can find what I am looking for. Let's see, can I find what I am looking for? Ah, here it is. It doesn't give it good. So the pieces are used to build up the, here we go, the instructions. Dig those out. So if you look, you have these two pieces that are on her funnel. That is what 2 and 3 are used to build. So those don't come in plastic. So if you are afraid of photo etch, then I'm sorry to say, then you'd have a very weird looking funnel for your Alaska-class cruiser. So put that to the side for now. Pick this up. And next is your sea sprue, which holds your funnel, parts of your main superstructure, the breakwater for the front of the ship, more parts for your superstructure, and two bases that are either used for the 40 millimeters or they're used to mount the 5-inch. Although I have a feeling that it might not be the 5-inch and it might be the 40 millimeters. Am I 100% in that? No. I am no expert in ship models. In fact, I can probably be said I know absolutely nothing, really, about ship models. So next out of the box, let's take this out. The trumpeter and their ever famous way of using this stuff to protect your models pieces. Smart idea. So remove you and oops. Surprisingly, instead of doing it having multiple sprues all in their own separate baggies with the plastic protecting them, you have all the sprues together. So of course this sprue carries most of your armament. So of course you have her triple 12s, the 5-inch 38s on here, the parts that are used to build up the quad bofors, and her 20 millimeters. And of course you also have your turret base. So that's an interesting way to do it with those 3 sprues instead of putting them in their separate bags, putting them all together. Next out is, well, I instantly recognize the part. So these are the parts that are used to mount the aircraft at the center of the ship. Of course you have your catapults. Part 14 and 15, I don't think you can probably see it, or if you, and there's probably a large amount of light reflecting off the bags, but 14 and 15, where my fingers are right here, these are the parts that make up the crane. Those are another part that they have no plastic parts for. So if you have a way to replace those so you don't have to use the photo etch, by all means go for it. But if you don't, well, sad to say, this is how you build up your cranes. I see what looks to be some winches, and I do believe you have right here in the center. So these are all parts to help build up the superstructure. And next out of the box is, of course, well, it has your name tag, 1 in 700 scale, U.S. large cruiser, USS Hawaii CB-3, which is interesting. They put this on the name tag, but on the box they have battle cruiser written. And so the name tag is right, the box is wrong. Way to go, trumpeter. Way to go. And of course, last thing in the bag is, of course, the parts that go straight onto the deck. So you got your main superstructure base. You got, let's open you up. Yes, let's open you up so we can pull all these out and get a better look at all of them. So, superstructure base, this is where of course, your forward 12-inch super firing turret's gonna be mounted. You have the spots for your 2 5-inch 38s, and of course, being trumpeter, it actually has some pretty decent detail to the sides. Now, how easy that's going to be to drill out, I do not know, because I normally do not drill out portholes on 1 in 700 kits, because those can be a real pain in the behind. So next up, this piece is on your, I believe this part goes at the rear of the ship. No, it's not. So this piece actually goes on top of this one. So what you're gonna have on top of here is most likely one of your, either one of your radars or one of your 5-inch. Although I do believe it is possibly one of the radars, or your fire control, possibly the fire control. Next out of the box is this piece goes with your superstructure, and I would say this part is also superstructure. Don't quote me on that. And here you have the rear superstructure piece. All in all, it's fairly detailed. Spot right here. Possibly another fire control spot, possibly one of your 5-inch. Again, could be wrong. So move that. Next out of the bag, of course, is Trumpeter's ever famous clear plastic aircraft. That, and if I remember right, these are the Kingfisher float planes. That's right, Kingfisher. And then you've got finally your decals. So you have, of course, your American flag, the stars that go onto the swordfish, and your hull designation of 3. All in all, it's not bad of a kit. I've seen worse. I can honestly tell you all the time I got the 1 in 700 Alaska. Now that was a disappointment in itself, but there's a story behind how badly that was. And that was because, although according to the thing that I bought the Alaska from, it was a brand new model, apparently whoever sent it to me had cut the thing up in a number of different places, I guess, to replace with resin parts. But they did not say, and they showed older pictures, and believe me when I say I was not happy. So of course, open the instruction manual, pull this out, and of course you have your painting and marking guide. Now, as stated before, since she was never actually completed in time for World War II, or completed at all, she of course does not have a camouflage scheme, so you can quite literally just paint her up in gray. Or if you want, just as an idea, or because you want to make her look as if she served in later World War II, you could go with the, I'm pretty sure it wasn't measure 32, but where the majority of the hull was a navy blue while the rest of the ship was pretty much gray with a blue deck. So this kit in itself offers up a lot of different ideas. As stated, she was never completed, and there were many different plans on what to do with her. One idea was to convert her into a command ship. Another was to turn her into a missile cruiser, and then she would be the name ship of that class, with Alaska and Guam following after. However, that didn't work out either, and the only thing that did come out of that was that the turrets were removed before she was eventually scrapped. And I know several people, and it was actually quite smart in my opinion, and I actually like the idea, who decided to build her as pretty much a large anti-aircraft cruiser. And what I mean by that is, So anyone familiar with the ideas for USS Kentucky knows that one of the ideas was to turn Kentucky into an anti-aircraft battleship with quad 8-inch and a massive number of AA guns. And the model I saw was pretty much taking that and putting it on the Hawaii's hull. Now, I know they didn't use quads, they used triples. And if I know right, and don't quote me on this because I have not built it yet, or do I own them, they stole the 8-inch guns from a Baltimore-class cruiser. So if those fit, that's another interesting idea to use on the Hawaii. But yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting idea to do. If you have any preferences for a paint scheme, whether you want to keep her in the gray or if you want to go with the late World War II navy blue, gray, and mainly gray superstructure with the blue deck, please leave a comment and let us know which way you want to go with this. So yeah, that's Hawaii. This is the next ship that's going to be making her way into the channel, and I definitely look forward to it, and I hope all of you do too. So if you want to follow this build, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon to get notifications whenever new videos come up, and I hope to see you all again soon. Take care of yourselves, have a nice day, nice week, look after yourselves, and this is your Captain Charlemagne signing off.